And tonight on our Great American Panel, radio talk show host Mary Walter is here. She, an associate professor of political science at Occidental College and a writer for Ms. Blog. Caroline Heldman is back, and Fox News legal analyst, the one and only Peter Johnson Jr., also back with us. All right, so House Republicans passed 3 bills. They passed the Ryan plan. They passed cut, cap, and balance. They move forward now with and they're introduced a 3rd plan by Speaker Boehner. We don't know if it would pass or not. Can you tell me, Caroline, what is the president's plan?
Well, the president wouldn't be proposing a plan because it needs to come from Congress. And the president has said that he will go after Social Security and Medicare, which for someone on the left is morally
Show me where I can look at something, because
why would the president have a plan? It needs to come from Congress. And the plans that you just introduced are 3 Republican plans that had no hope of passage.
What is the Democratic Party's plan? Because guess what?
Reed's
they have one
plan.
House of Congress.
Reed's plan. In fact, in the green room, we were talking about how close Reed and Boehner are, that it's actually to a point where they could compromise in conference committee, but Boehner is choosing not to because he wants to bring it up again in 6 months to smear the president.
Wait a minute. $1 trillion of the Reed plan comes from savings achieved by other things, troop withdrawals from Iraq and Afghanistan, which have already been counted. Here's the point. The president's going to veto the Boehner plan. Right. Dead on arrival, according to Harry Reid. They already passed 2 plans that they won't sign on to or even allow a vote on. So
massive failure of leadership, and the president, who has decried Fox News, has now adopted the balanced approach of Fox News as his mantra going forward, which is which is quite interesting. But the professor's comment, although I won't adopt it because it seems to be extreme language, is the president's policy is morally reprehensible. I think it is reprehensible.
Going after the elderly, going after Medicare, I think that's morally reprehensible.
Exactly, and to say, oh, I don't know, call your Congress people and pressure them to come up with a plan. And today you have people, the press corps of the White House, jumping like fish out of water, saying, hey, Mr. Press Secretary, what's the plan? Yeah. What are you saying?
This is the point, the Republicans keep putting plans out there. Right. Democrats either won't vote on them or they announce them dead on arrival or I'll veto it. And they don't offer an alternative. And Caroline's saying they have put forward plans. And the president is using old people, scaring them in this debate, scaring the military, none of which is true because we still take in $200 billion a month. So what are the Democrats? We're waiting. We're 7 days away.
And to your point, Caroline, about, well, it has to come from Congress. If this president were a leader, he would sit down with these guys in the White House and work out some kind of a plan with them. It may not necessarily come from
Boehner walked away.
But he would sit down. He's not leading. He's not putting anything out. Look at Geithner with Chris Wallace. And Chris tried 6 ways from Sunday to try to get him to say, what is your plan if the debt ceiling is not passed? And he either doesn't have a plan or he doesn't want anybody to know what his plan is. And I think they don't have a plan. They don't know what they're going to do. Nobody has a plan. And
you're right. The president's scaring everybody, and he's using all these catastrophe, disaster, doomsday rhetoric.
Sean, there's going to be a 44% cut if we don't do something. So it's not.
We've had an 84% increase in discretionary spending under Obama. We have $4 trillion of Obama debt. We had Obama's budgets passed, Obama's stimulus passed, his health care plan passed.
Let's be clear.
And look where we are.
He has contributed 10% to this problem.
Excuse me, more than 10%. No president has accumulated this amount of debt and deficits like this guy.
As a result of the lowest revenue in 60 years, wars that he didn't get us into, one that he did get us into and should not have gotten us into.
And what the president needs to contribute at this point is great leadership. He said that he had the capacity to lead. He said he had the capacity to forge coalitions. We need to call upon him, as his experience in forging coalitions, to forge a coalition in Washington between diverse groups.
He promised Peter he'd cut the deficit in half. He promised unemployment would stay below 8%.
Right.
He begged for the job, and all he does, he starts last night's speech blaming
all unrequited promises. And I watched it, and I spoke to my family members, and I spoke to a lot of friends. That was not the tone that Democrats or Republicans was looking.
77% of people now blame Republicans.
And if this is the best advocate for the president, then
he spun it correctly. Doesn't mean
that's what I'm saying. No, I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying
the president is getting in the 30s on metrics on the economy.
Yes, but when it comes to who they think is to blame for this, they are blaming Republicans.
No, even Stan Greenberg says blaming Republicans isn't working anymore. We have more with our Great American Panel, and we'll be fighting during the break. Straight ahead.